Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So basically this is the AWS Zero to Master series, and in this playlist we are focusing on that AWS cloud and AWS services, all the end-to-end process. So coming to the today topics, we are going to be see about launch template. So basically this is the one of the important concept we need to be know about when we started working on that EC2 level, since it will be help us to deploy that multiple EC2 instance in a single click. To reduce our time consumption and the manual process. So let us start. So the launch template means nothing but it will be help us to simplify our launch task. Well, like for example, when we are launching that EC2 instance on the AWS console, we need to be choose all the parameters for each time. Like let's take an example. If you need a 10 EC2 instance in the different days, you need to be like do it in a each time. If you need you need to be select all the parameters and you can deploy it. So to do the process, we can automate that these tasks using the launch template. Like using the launch template, we can store all the configuration file in that launch template, such as the AMI and instance type, key pair, security groups, and user data, and lots more. All the configuration file we can store it in that launch template. So using the launch template, we can deploy the EC2 instance in the single click. So when we are working on the launch template, the another concept will be we need to be ensure about the template version. So template version means nothing but it is a subset of that launch template parameters. For example, if you have if you are going to be create a template for that Linux based web server, first you can do using the version one. On the version one, we can create a template with Linux AMI, and that we can pass that user data for the Linux AMI. Then you are getting a request. We need to be create a template version for that Ubuntu image with some new user data. So what we can do, instead of creating that separate template, we can add that template with the version 2, the same template with the version 2. On that version 2, we can select the AMI as a Ubuntu, and on the user data level, we can pass it those Ubuntu user data. So this is the way we can create a multiple version under that single template. So we can deploy it whenever we are deploying the EC2. We can choose that respective version, and we can deploy the EC2 instead. And quickly switching to that console. So in the today's session, we will see about how we can create the launch template, and how we can deploy those template as a EC2 instance. In the next session, we will see if we have any existing EC2 instance. We will see about how we can convert that a launch template, and how we can deploy on that EC2 instance. So let us start. So to create a launch instance on the EC2 console, under the instance, you can see one of the option called launch template. Basically, they are providing that, as I mentioned, they are providing, they are storing that parameters as like a template so that we can deploy. So to do that, just to create a launch template. So basically, I'm going to be create this template for that web server, for example. So I'm just calling as the web server so that we can get it that why we have been created this template. So here the template version, first one I'm going to be use that Amazon Linux as the AMI. So Amazon Linux web server. So the auto scaling group guidance, this is a separate concept. We will see it in that upcoming session. So the tags is nothing but we can tag that templates in that respective parameters so that we can easily track it, and we can give that permission also in the IAM. So here are we need to be pass that all the template configuration. So basically that AMI, either we can ignore, and at the time of launching the instance we can choose it. Otherwise we can select that recently launched or the browse more AMS. Using that you can choose that respective AMI. So first one I'm going to choose the Amazon Linux. Basically we are going to be use this Amazon Linux as a web server. So just click on select. So now you can see I have been selected that Amazon Linux as the AMI. So the next one, that instance type, this one also we can ignore, but when the time of EC2 instance deployment, we need to be choosing. But right now we are going to be choosing by default. So I'm going to use the T2 micro as a like instance type for the Amazon Linux, and the key pair I'm going to be use it as the like Linux key. This is the Amazon Linux I'm going to be using. And under the network section, what I'm going to do, the subnet I'm going to be leave it as a default. The existing security groups I'm going to be using that existing one called that SSH, SDSSH HTTP lab. This is the one I'm going to be using. So apart from that, the storage, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the storage for the like the Amazon Linux, the separate device. So don't worry about that. I'll just explain you more on the EBS and EFS related at the time of storage section. So now I'm going to add the 2 GB of device, separate device for like under the SDB3. So apart from that, what we are going to do, we are going to pass the some user data section under the advanced plan for the Amazon Linux. So I'm just copying that value. So basically, this is the like value we are going to be pass it on the user data. This is for Amazon Linux. What we are going to do, we are going to be install the HTTPD service on the Amazon Linux using the M utility, and we are adding the value. So just to copy and the moment to that console, just to paste it. That's it. So now what we are doing, we are creating a template, and on the template we are choosing that Amazon EMI with a different kind of like T2 micro and that keeper and using the Linux and all the configuration based on the Amazon Linux. Along with it, I have been added one of the additional volume 2 GB. So just click on launch template. So the launch template has been created. Now you can see this basically we are going to be used at web server purpose, and the default version we have been created only one version, and you can see all the details, what is the version and the template tags and the template details, everything we can get it. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be create another like a version under the same template. So to do that, just to select that existing template and click on that action and modify the template. So at the end of the session, you should be get the clarity about why we are creating that multiple version. So be patient for this session. So here what I'm going to do, earlier I have been selected Amazon Linux as the AMI. Now I'm going to use that Ubuntu AMI. So in case if you are getting that any request mail from your environment, you should be deployed that another web server. The AMI should be used that Ubuntu. This is the way we can create that template. One version should be that Linux and one version should be that Ubuntu. So and next part, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be change the like AMI. So earlier I have been chosen that Amazon Linux. Now I'm going to be use it as the Ubuntu. So Ubuntu, so this is the one I'm going to be use it. So you can see I have been selected that Ubuntu as the primary image for the version 2. That instance type I'm going to be leave it as the default T2 micro. But keeper earlier we have chosen that Linux. Now I'm going to use that Ubuntu. And next one that security group I'm going to be use it as the default one, default security group. And apart from that, the storage we are not going to add any additional value for the Ubuntu machine. The Linux only we have been added. And coming to the advanced step, what we are going to do, we are going to pass the user data for the Linux machine. Sorry, Ubuntu machine. If you can see, like this is the existing data. I'm just going to be delete, and I'm just adding the value for Ubuntu. So I'm just copying and pasting the value. So here you can see basically this is the bash command, and I'm just installing the Ubuntu in Nginx. This is the one of the web services. So I'm installing and I'm starting the Nginx so that we will get the Nginx page when we are deploying the Ubuntu based instance. So just to create a template version, okay, launch template. So basically now you can see there are two versions are available, and the default version is one. So now we will try to deploy using this template with a different version. So to do that, just select that launch template. We click on that launch action and the launch instance from the template. So I'm going to be select that existing template, the source template called that web server. So under the web server, the default one, first one we are going to be deploy at the Amazon Linux. So this is the default one. So I'm not going to be change anything. By default, all the parameter will be come under this section. You can see the T2 Micro and Amazon Linux and the keeper. I'm using the Linux T and the existing like security group. This is the SGSSH and the volume. As I mentioned, I have been added two volumes. The second volume 2 GB I'm using, and the advanced tab I have been added that the sun configuration data. So if you need require more instance, you can just change it. Just click on launch. If you can see, I'm just click on the single click. I'm just deploying that instance. So now you can see the instance has been creating it started to running in a Zoom. Just a minute, it's loading. Yeah, now you can see this is a pending state. It will be coming as few second. I'll rename it as the Amazon Linux. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to be deploy the another instance using the second version. That version 2, there we have been created with the Ubuntu machine. So to do that, just to select the template and click on that action and launch the instance from the template. So here, yeah, you can see automatically by default only one template is there. It will be taking. Here instead of Amazon Linux, I'm going to be selected the Ubuntu. That is the machine. So you can see the AMI also has been changed and the instance type remaining same. Here the keeper instead of Linux, it's coming that Ubuntu and that security group. You can see that default as SSH and storage. I'm not using that any additional volume. And in the advanced pane, you can see like here I'm just passing that Nginx by default. So a number of instances I'm going to be set as the one, just to click on the launch. So there are two instances has been successfully deployed using the template. Just I'm removing that things. So you can see one of the instance is pending, another one is running. So this is basically called Ubuntu. So now what I'm going to do, like I'm going to be checking that whether HTTP is running or not on the particular Amazon Linux. Basically, we pass those data into the template. So to check that HTTP protocol with the public IP address of the Amazon Linux machine. Yeah, if if you can see like this value I have been added on the template user data. Now it is up and running. Now we will see whether the Ubuntu machine has been installed that Nginx or not. Okay, I'm just going to copy. So using the HTTP protocol, I'm just using. Let us wait for few seconds to respond the server. In the meantime, we will validate that security section whether the port has been enabled or not. So that has been like by default enabled for all the port. So the Nginx should be respond in a few minutes. Like maybe it will take us some time in a backend to configure the data. We'll wait for a few seconds. Yeah, now you can see once I'm refreshing this page, that will be automatically pop up the window, the welcome the Nginx. Basically, we didn't have any content on the index.html, so that's the reason it's giving the default content. So you can see that IP address is 192.25. This is the 192.25 of the Ubuntu machine. So basically, this is the way we can create a template on the launch template, and we can deploy it like the instance using the launch template. Maybe in your scenario, if you have a web server with the Ubuntu and the Linux machine, if you need to be deploy those like Ubuntu and the Linux machine, the each 10 count of the EC2 itself, you can click in the simple option. You can deploy that EC2 instance like on the EC2 console without taking much time. So that's all about the today's session. So in the next session, we will see in the existing if you have any existing EC2 instance, how we can create a template using the existing instance, and how we can deploy using the template. So we will see in the next session. So once again, thanks for watching the channel, and we'll see you in the upcoming session.